It was December the 1st, 2019, when the world was struck with the news of the first case of the unknown virus in Wuhan, China. Little did everyone know that it was just the beginning of a worldwide crisis. COVID cases have hugely increased to 150 million more people around the world, and the numbers haven't stopped yet. In the Philippines alone, the virus is roughly 17,000 lives, and daily an average of 7,000 new cases are recorded. The country is barely getting up. The world, worse. Surprisingly, some countries are handling the pandemic rather effectively, but others not so much.
While many parts of the world have either recovered or avoided the brunt of the pandemic altogether. No two strategies were the same, but public health experts tell us that around the world there was some commonality to the places that got it right. They took the virus seriously and they acted quickly.
Or avoided it altogether.
So many countries acted quickly and used various containment strategies to mitigate the spread, something health experts say the U.S. can learn from.
I wonder what we were doing wrong. It must be their government's approach, or maybe their ideologies. Would it have better if we were a federalist country?
As the national death toll surpasses 150,000, this morning 21 states are now in the so-called red zone for their rapid rate of transmission. According to a federal report, the province saw another jump in cases today, more than 2 weeks after circuit breaker measures were put into place, already prompting cancellation of some surgeries. The latest figures put variants of concern at 15% of new cases, including hundreds of cases of severe.
Now how about conservatism?
Across the world, COVID cases have reached a new peak. The devastating numbers are driven by India. Nearly 400,000 new cases and more than 3,600 deaths in the last 24 hours. But with hospitals and morgues completely full, people are dying at home and being cremated here. Their lives are not being officially counted. On to Chile now, which has reported the highest daily surge in COVID-19 cases since the onset of the pandemic. On Saturday, the government said that it had reported over 7,000 fresh infections in the last 24 hours. Breaking the June 2020 record, Chile has witnessed an alarming rise in the number of hospitalizations.
Would liberalism be better?
Korea appears to be on the verge of a fourth wave of COVID-19, with the country's daily tally on Friday reaching just shy of 800. That's the highest tally recorded since early January. But with the vaccine campaign underway, there have been improvements in the rate of severe cases and the fatality rate.
State of emergency for Tokyo and Osaka as the country scrambles to control COVID-19 infections ahead of the Summer Olympics. The government calls the restrictions short and powerful, saying it was necessary to ensure the games can be held safely. Restaurants and bars will all be closed. Fans will be banned from all sporting events. And the Tokyo governor has asked that all neon signs be turned off to discourage people from going out.
Or maybe the country was ruled by a communist.
Continues to claim there are 0 cases of COVID-19 within its tightly sealed borders. But over the past weeks and months, the regime has shown signs that it might actually be grappling with the virus, enforcing stringent lockdowns and social distancing measures, issuing warnings to the public, and receiving medical supplies from international organizations.
China has declared victory over the coronavirus, following 9 whirlwind months for first responders, scientists, and party officials. After denying the severity of the virus and initially underreporting numbers, Beijing now says that it can keep the pandemic at bay.
It's still not clear what the best ideology is. I have listed 2 countries with different effects of the same ideology. But according to further research, one country obviously stood out among the rest.
Success, what's been done differently, from other countries who are still struggling with the pandemic, like ours here? What can we take away from Australia's success?
Well, Tanya, I think Australia's success can really be defined by a bit of good luck, but also a bit of good management. Australia's policymakers essentially went very hard, very fast, very early on in this
But it
pandemic.
still did not make sense since Australia is federal like the US and Canada. I tracked down to see what their government did, and it was pretty effective.
They are rules for you, your safety, your job, your community.
But what I found more surprising is not because of their government, but because of what their citizens had done and behaved throughout the whole COVID cases.
Glad to be back outdoors again, albeit wearing a mask. As he said, everyone did for months. No questions asked.
When the government came out, they mandated masks the first week of August, and there was about 20 seconds of complaining, and then everybody emerged with like a mask that matched their shirt.
Not only did I get to see that it was not only about the ideology. Only 50% is from the actions of the government, while the other 50% is from us. The Philippines has been suffering for 1 year, 1 month, and 3 days now. But I'm still waiting for the new dawn. This is Charmy Ann Yabinete, signing off.